Yeah, I see the garage door is down. So
It is. Yeah.
that's a important safety
Item
factor.
number 17.
That's what was emailed to me that I couldn't
No, and
open.
now that you mention that,
Okay, and I'll say two
what
letters.
street was that on?
Hillside.
No, look it up again
It's
because
2:00.
Sure.
I should have had the reinspection. Hasn't come up yet. Hillside address.
It's 2:00 and I'm going to call to order the Tarpon Springs Code Enforcement. And I'm working without my notes today. We'll see if I can get through it. We'll have a roll call, please. Bobby?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Wade,
Present.
Ms. Archer,
Here.
Mr. Weeks,
Here.
Mr. Kramer is absent. Ms. Norfleet,
Here.
Ms. Telliar,
Here.
Mr. Favidio. Oh, no, absent. And Mr. Stamus, he is absent. That completes your roll call, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll have an invocation and pledge to allegiance led by Mr. Trask.
Our Father in heaven, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is in the best interest of the city of Tarpon Springs and our fellow citizens. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is the intention of this board to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Tarpon Springs by providing an equitable, effective, and inexpensive method of enforcing various codes within the city of Tarpon Springs. Any aggrieved party may appeal a final administrative order of this board to the circuit court. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 days of the execution of the order to be appealed. Florida Statute 286.0105 requires any party appealing a decision of this board to have a record of the proceedings to support such an appeal. The procedure of this board is as follows. First, the city presents its witnesses and exhibits, after which the alleged violator is able to ask the city's witnesses any specific questions regarding their testimony. Secondly, the alleged violator is allowed to make a presentation and present his or her witnesses and exhibits. Then the city can question the alleged violator's witnesses. After both rounds of testimony, both on the part of the city and on the part of the alleged violator, each party is asked to give a closing argument, first by the city and then by the alleged violator. After those three steps are taken, this board will close the public hearing portion of the case to discuss it and take appropriate action. Before we begin the public hearings, we'll have all potential witnesses stand and be sworn in by the secretary of the board, and a reminder to turn your cell phones off, please. Are you folks here to testify today? Please stand. And we have someone on Zoom with us. Thank you.
All right. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. Be seated.
Thank you. I'm looking at my notes. They're not in my thing today, so whoops, help me. The first case is on your agenda has been deferred, as well as the second, third, and fourth. So we're skipping to item number 5 on your agenda, which is item number 20-8000754, 603 Sugar Mill Road, Robert McCullough. And is anyone here for that case? Anyone on Zoom? Hearing none, the city will make its presentation.
Okay. My name is Beth Hughes, the Face Certified Code Inspector for the City of Tarpon Springs. This is case number, I apologize, probably can hear me better now. This is case number 20-800-00754 for 603 Sugar Mill Road under Robert McCullough. Exhibit 1 are all photos. Exhibit 2 are all notices to include the notice of violation and notice of hearings. Exhibit number 3 are all the administrative documents to include the case summary, property appraiser, tax collector records. Exhibit 4 is the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. All the photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies of what is being presented to the board. All notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearings are sent return receipt requested and first-class mail. Madam Chair, please accept all exhibits into the record as evidence.
Thank you. And there's no one here to object, so Bobby's going to enter those in. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have had contact with the owner by phone calls. We did the initial inspection on December 30th of 2020. The property was overgrown. There was debris on the west side of the home and the pool was black. How I was able to view the violations was from the home at 605 Sugar Mill. The property owner asked me to come on his property to view the violations. On December 30th of 2020, the notice of violation was mailed and the green card was returned signed. On February 1st of 2021, there was a reinspection. Signs that the property had been improved were shown. They were working on cleaning up the pool. It was now more of a green rather than a black. This pool screen was repaired. A large amount of the vegetative debris was removed, but the pool was still not in a sanitary condition and the back was still overgrown. So as a result, on February 1st of 2021, a final notice of violation was mailed and the green card was returned signed. We conducted a reinspection on February 18th of 2021, and the property was in compliance at that time, except for the pool. It was better, but still not in compliance. So I did choose to go ahead and send another final notice of violation at that time because everything else had been completed, and I was trying to give the owner a chance to get it finished. So on March 9th of 2021, I conducted a reinspection. Again, I went to the property owner at 605 Sugar Mill, invited me into his yard to view the pool. It was still green and the property was again overgrown. So on March 16th of 2021, the notice of hearing was mailed and the green card was returned signed. On March 26th of 2021, the sign was posted in the yard and the affidavit of posting was signed. Yesterday, we did the final inspection on April 7th. And the property was mowed and no debris was visible. I was unable to see the pool. However, because of speaking with the property owner, I knew the pool was not in compliance yet. He does intend to repair the pool pump so that he can get the pool into a sanitary condition. So let me go ahead and bring up the pictures for you. I'm gonna have to remove my mouse because my glasses keep fogging and I can't see.
While she's doing that, let's for the record make a note that one additional board member has come in and won't vote on this issue because he came in partly through it. Is that appropriate, Mr. Trask?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's just long. Okay, so let me get to the first picture. Here we go. Okay, so this just shows some of the overgrowth that was in the backyard. You can see behind the gate how it's well over 12 inches. There was debris on the side, bags and other discarded items. And then this was a picture of the pool that was, at this point, the screen was ripped. It was open. The pool was black. They since have repaired everything, but the pool is not yet completely sanitary. And this was just showing more of that and some of the overgrowth in the back. And that's all the pictures I have for that. So basically where we are right now, I'm asking for the board members to find the property owner in violation of City Code 8-52. However, that is currently in compliance. I'm asking for it to be established and also to be found in violation of 6-1. The city code that adopts the International Property Maintenance Code, and IPMC code 303.1 for the swimming pools being in sanitary condition. And that concludes my testimony.
Does anyone have questions for her?
So the pool is not in compliance. And that's, we're going to continue that violation. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I would like you to find the pool not in compliance.
Okay.
And the code that adopts the International Property Maintenance Code.
But the other 8-52 is in compliance.
It's in compliance, but I would request that the board establish that so that if he's not in compliance in the future, he'd be a repeat violator for that.
Okay, got it.
So I'm still unclear. Do we need a single motion to establish all three or a separate motion just for establishing item 8.52 and a separate motion for the first two?
I'll answer that question. It would be best to do two separate motions. So you can address them separately.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? Could I hear a motion, please?
I move based on the testimony, evidence, and facts presented in the law that at the time of the alleged violation, section 8-52 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Tarpon Springs was in full effect. At the time of violation, the respondent was in violation of said codes, however, they are now in compliance.
So that was
Is that the right
item
one?
number 8-52,
Right.
establishing
Yeah, just
only.
establishing that one, yeah.
Well,
Second.
Seconded. Roll call, please.
Ms. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes. Then if anybody has any questions, we will look at the other two items, City Code 6.1 and IPMC 303.1.
For motion. Do we know how long he needs?
Pardon me?
It's a pool pump issue, correct? For the pool?
In order for him to maintain it, he's told us that
Have
he
any
has,
idea how long that would be? That would be?
he requested for 3 weeks to get it totally completely done. The
That's
the pump repaired and the pool in sanitary
Okay.
condition.
Okay. Mhm.
Any other questions?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
Okay. I move based on the testimony, evidence, and facts presented in the law at the time of the alleged violations, City Code 6-1 and IPMC Code 303.1 of the city ordinances of Tarpon Spring were in force and effect, and the respondent was in violation thereof.
Second. Bobby, roll call?
Mrs. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes. And then there's a second part to this. Would anybody like to make a motion? We understand that the owner needs about 3 weeks estimated.
That's what he asked me to convey. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good motion.
Anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the respondent shall have until April 29th or April 30th to bring the property into compliance with city codes 6-1 and IPMC 303.1, or suffer a fine of $25 per day for each day thereafter that respondent remains in violation of said codes.
Second.
Your choice, Bobby. You've got 2 seconds,
Ah.
and then we'll have a roll call. Thank you.
Mrs. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes. Item 6 has been deferred. We're going to skip to item 7. And in your packet, there were a number of notes regarding this property, which is at 630 East Orange. This is a repeat violator case. Item number 21-800000085, 630 East Orange Street, the Annexi Group LLC. Is anyone here for that item? Please come to this microphone. She's going to present a case, then you can ask questions. Then you get to present your case, and then we'll have questions. City's going to go first. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Beth Hughes and I'm the FACE Certified Code Inspector for the City of Tarpon Springs. This is for case number 21-800000085 for 630 East Orange Street under the Annexi Group LLC. Exhibit 1 contains all the photographs. Exhibit 2 contains all the notices to include the notice of violation and notice of hearing. Exhibit 3 contains all the administrative documents to include the case summary, previous board orders, property appraiser and tax collector records. Exhibit 4 is the affidavit of posting and the copy of sign. Exhibit 5 is the affidavit of prosecution costs. I don't know if you want to, so Brian can put them down the line. I don't know if we'd like to ask Mr. Annexi if he has any.
Do you have any objection
Objection.
to the evidence being admitted? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies of what is being presented to the board. All notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearings are sent, return receipt requested in first-class mail. Please accept all exhibits into the record as evidence.
Bobby, you do so, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We have had contact with the owner's son, Mr. George Annexi, and he's here today. And this is a repeat violation case for case number 20-800000231, 20-800000015, 18-800000032, case number 17-800000772, case number 17-800000618. Okay, so basically on February 16th, I conducted the initial inspection. The property was overgrown along the sides of the property in the back. Vines had overgrown several trees. There was a pepper tree on the east side. There was a dilapidated block wall on the west side that needed to be removed. So those were basically what I saw when I did the initial inspection. We went ahead and mailed the repeat violator notice of hearing, as well as a notice of violation for some new inspections, and the green card was returned signed. I did have contact, as I said, with, we had tried to reach out because we had heard from the tenant that there were some personal issues that were going on with the owner, and I'll let Mr. Annexi explain that. So we did try to reach out to the, we noticed that there had been a change of address for the registered agent address. So we did try to reach out to make sure that they were aware that this had occurred. So on March 5th of 2021, We conducted a reinspection. The property is currently in compliance. It was cut, edge trimmed, the pepper tree was removed, and the block wall was removed. On March 26th of 2021, the sign was posted and the affidavit of posting was signed. So the property was in violation from the date of initial inspection on February 16th and was put in compliance as of March 5th, 2021. I'll go ahead and pull up the pictures. Okay. So this just shows some of the overgrowth in the back. They actually had been cutting the just the front area that was not overgrown, but the entire property wasn't being maintained. This just shows some of the vines and the trees. This is just more overgrowth along the fence and in the back and the vines. This was the dilapidated block wall that I had discussed. It pretty much went underground along the property line for quite a ways between the two properties. There was just more of the blocks that were buried and some of the overgrowth on the east side of the property. The pepper tree that was there. And that's it. So also just to let you know, Mr. Annexi reached out to me as soon as he received the notice. I met him at the property. He explained to me some circumstances that he'll explain to you. He got the property in compliance very quickly after we made contact, was very communicative and very proactive. And so what I would like for the code board members is to find the property in violation of 8-40, the duty to maintain private property, and in violation of City Code 8-52 for nuisance prohibitions. And like I said, the main thing I wanted to make clear was that he did reach out to us immediately and took care of the maintaining the property as quickly as possible. And that concludes my testimony.
Thank you. Do you have any just questions for her? You'll get to present your case in a second.
I don't believe so.
How many days did you find it not in compliance?
It was from February 16th to March 5th, which I believe was 17 days.
Would you like to present your side? And we appreciate your responding to them promptly.
And she covered it very well, but my mom was sick, with dementia for many years.
Move his, I can't. it's hard to
My mom was
understand.
sick. She got diagnosed.
Start again, please. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
So my mom got diagnosed with dementia and it was going on for a couple of years. And then she got COVID and she had a stroke and became paralyzed. And that's when I jumped in with Beth. I had no knowledge of any of this because she wasn't giving me any of the mail. So I've taken over since January. So, I don't know what else we can do on our side, but I feel like we're doing everything right, since we've been in communication with each other.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for him?
I do not.
Does the board have any questions from, is it Mr. Annexi?
Yeah.
Would you like to summarize?
Yes, I would. Based on kind of the history that we learned from Mr. Annexi about his mom, it may explain some of the previous repeat violations. So it is not my goal to see a heavy fine. Mr. Annexi has worked on this property in addition to being proactive on other properties that we don't have code cases. So again, just to let you know that my goal is not to have normally as a repeat violator, the fines get higher. That is not my goal under this circumstance, based on the circumstances that he's explained and how quickly he brought this property and others into compliance.
Thank you. Do you need to summarize?
No, I mean, I don't want to go too much into her medical history, but, just, she was diagnosed not to handle any finances or drive pre-COVID and the paralysis now. So, this was happening for years. I just didn't know, because she was functioning. So there's no way for me to really know that she was that sick.
Thank you.
Do all the repeat violations, were they in the last 2 years or last 3 years?
Repeat violation is actually the last 5 years. Excuse me, what I'm trying to say is to be a repeat violator, it's the last 5 years with the same violation, same owner name.
So these previous fines?
Some of the
within last
cases,
5 years,
yes, some of the cases were back from 2017.
2017?
Mhm.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
And the property's now in compliance, correct?
Yes.
And yes, I move that based on the testimony, evidence, facts presented in the law, that respondent, case number 21-800000085, was in violation of section City Code 8-40 and 8-52 from 16 February to 5 March for a total of 17 days. So, and a fine of $10 per day for a fine of $170. In addition, I move that the city be awarded $105.50 for the cost it incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
Discussion among the board? Bobby?
Afterwards, do we have to get, afterwards, can we say something or should I say it now? It doesn't have, afterwards, can I say something or should I say it?
If you
now?
want to discuss it, we should.
I don't,
do-
it's nothing, I don't want to discuss. I just want to tell him
Want to
something.
talk to him, I understand. That'll be at the end, I think.
Okay.
Call for vote, Bobby?
Mr. Furio,
Aye.
Mrs. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes,
Ms. Wade.
Yes. Would you like to summarize for him, please? And then Ms. Archer would like to make a statement to him as well.
Okay, we have a second case for the same violator. So-
Yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Nexi, Nexi Group LLC has been found in repeat violation of 2 code section HS 40 and 8-52. The violation has been found for a 17-day period of time. The Code Enforcement Board has assessed a $10 a day fine for those 17 days for a total of $170. The Code Enforcement Board is also authorized, given the city the prosecution costs of $105.50 for prosecuting the case. There will be an order entered. It'll be ordered within approximately 10 days, and it'll be provided to Annexy Group LLC at the address listed with the property appraiser's office. So if you have a different address that you would like your documents to go to, please let code enforcement staff know after the meeting. Otherwise, it'll be sent to that address.
And the chair recognizes our vice chair.
it looks like you, Mr. Hexie, that you're really trying to get this straightened out because it's been going on for quite a while. And I've known your mom for many years and I'm very sorry. I didn't realize she was so ill.
Yeah, thank you. She's making a comeback though.
So going forward, you have a plan in place to manage the property?
110%.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you. Next item is also with the Annexy Group. It's item number 8, also a repeat violator issue. And it's item number 21-800000109. 39 West Oakwood, the Annexi Group LLC, and you have backups in your packet. And the city's going to present its case. And do you have any objection to the evidence being submitted into our record?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Bobby will receive that when Beth's ready.
Okay, this is case number 21-800-00109 for 39 West Oakwood Street under the Annexi Group LLC. Exhibit 1 contains all the photographs. Exhibit 2, all the notices to include the notice of violation and notice of hearings. Exhibit 3 contains all the administrative documents to include the case summary, previous board orders, property appraiser and tax collector records. Exhibit 4 contains the affidavit of posting and copy of the sign. And Exhibit 5 is the affidavit of prosecution costs. All the photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies of what is being presented to the board. All notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violation and notice of hearings are sent return receipt requested and first-class mail. Madam Chair, please accept all the exhibits into the record as evidence.
Thank you, and Bobby will do that.
Okay, so this is a repeat violation case as well. It's a repeat violation case from case number 20-800-00231, 20-800-00015, case number 18-800-00032, 17-800-00772, and 17-800-0061. We again did have contact with the owner, Mr. Annexi, who's the son of Mrs. Annexi. On February 24th, we conducted the initial inspection. There was a large amount of trash and debris littered around the entire property. Full trash cans were on the street on a Wednesday, which was not a trash day, and the brick, fire, and grill area was dilapidated. So on February 25th, we mailed the repeat violation notice of hearing and notice of violation, and the green card was returned signed. On March 10th, I conducted a reinspection. This one, they had an entire back structure that was falling apart, so this took a little while. They had to completely remove that structure. All the trash had been removed. The grass was mowed, edged, and trimmed. The only remaining violation was some debris on the west side to include a shopping cart and discarded furniture, cushions. On March 16th, I conducted another reinspection. The trash and debris had removed, so the property was in compliance. And we put them in compliance as of March 11th because I didn't get out to do the inspection on the date we were told it was in compliance. So the city would like to find the property in violation from the date of the initial inspection on February 24th, 2021, and in compliance as of March 11th, 2021. And I'll go ahead and share the pictures. Okay, so this is just a picture showing that there's I can't tell if that's a pallet or fence material leaning on the back of the other fence. There was a lot of cans and debris along the front edge by the sidewalk, just buried in the vegetation. Sidewalk was a bit overgrown, more trash and debris, more debris on the back. And then you can see where the brick patio or the brick, I don't know if that was a barbecue or fireplace or what, was falling apart. More debris along the side. The shopping cart debris. And more trash within the bushes. And that's all my pictures. So the city would like to find the property in violation of City Code 8-40, the duty to maintain private property, 8-52 for nuisance prohibitions, and 8-22 accumulation of trash, again from the initial inspection on 2/24/21 to March 11th, 2021. And that concludes my testimony.
Do you have any questions
No,
for
ma'am.
her? Does the board have any questions for Beth? Beth, are you calling that 15 days then?
I believe that was 15 days. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Nexi, your turn.
Same as the other one. I mean, we reacted as fast as we could to it, and but at the same time, all this is going on, we're trying to get rid of all the tenants that weren't paying there for years. So it's been a challenge, trying to clean up, and because they just keep making it a mess. Because they're disgruntled about having to leave because they're not paying. But I think overall, it's going well.
Do you have any questions for him, Beth?
I do not. I can verify that I believe you have removed all the tenants now, right?
We got
Are
squatters
close.
there now. We're fighting squatters that. we
Yeah,
don't know
he's-
their names. I mean, it's just.
He's had a battle trying to keep the property in compliance because of the tenants that are in there.
Yes, sir.
I just have a question for Beth. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear on at least 8-22. Is that an initial violation? Because it's not showing as a repeat in any of the other cases. We're going to need to make that distinction on the motion if it's an initial violation.
Actually, thank you very much for pointing that out.
822.
That was in compliance and it was a new violation. So we can disregard 8-22. And I would just like to bring forward the repeat violations of 840 and 8-52. Thank you, Mr. Trask.
Could I hear a motion, please? And we can discuss it.
I move that based on testimony, evidence, and facts presented by law, that the respondent was in violation of sections 8-40 and 8-52.
No, 8-22.
8-40 and
Did away with the
8-52.
52.
40 and 52.
I thought 40 and
I thought it was
52.
80-22. I thought you,
We took it
22
away.
That one I took off the table because Mr. Trask pointed out to me, and he's correct, that that was a new violation and I'm not establishing that one today.
the 52.
No, 22.
Okay.
Scratching
Sound like you said
22.
52.
Scratching 22.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Of the Tarpon Springs
misunderstood.
City Code from February the 24th until March the 11th, and a fine of $20 a day for 15 days, fine of
That's correct.
In addition, I move that the city be awarded $105.50 for the cost it incurred prosecuting the case.
I hear a second.
Second.
Could I ask a question on your motion? Same owner, same problems, different fining amounts. I understand if you feel like you want to make a point on this. Could you clarify for me? Thank you.
I'll change it to $10. No problem.
Would you-
But the last fine for the same thing was $500 a day. I mean, so, okay.
I was just trying to get us parallel. On item number 7, we imposed a fine of $10 a day, same owner, same issues. Item number 8, same owner, same issues. I was questioning whether the fine should be the same. They were being nice on the first one, getting them caught up and hoping we won't see them again. Why was there a different fine on the second one? And he is changing his
I'm amending my,
motion to
Motion.
make it $10.
$10
So they're
a day.
both the same. Do you want to question that? That's okay.
I just want to, is this property is a rental property that you have?
Was.
You don't own it any longer?
No, we own it. We're just trying to clean it up and sell it.
To me, there's a distinction between,
The other one was a rental also.
but it was his mother living in there.
No. My mother's living in none of them. They're all rentals.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not homesteaded, either one. No.
All right, understood.
Are you comfortable with? You're a second. Do you have, agree
I
with
had
the
to go
change?
to the second. Yes, I'll
Okay.
continue with the second.
So the motion is now $10 a day for 15 days and the prosecution costs. It has been made and seconded. Bobby, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Fudio,
No.
Ms. Teliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And as you did before, we have seen your mom up here an awful lot, and we're hoping that you're going to help turn this around. We've given you a really big chance here,
Yeah, thank you.
and I hope you appreciate it and take advantage of
course.
that. I think the other board members, I think that's why he was objecting to the fine. He wants to make certain that you're hearing us.
No, I understand.
That's 100% correct.
Anybody else?
No, agree.
Thank you. Beth, would you like to summarize, please, or Mr. Trask?
I'd be happy to. Sir, it's the same as the last case. The code enforcement board has found Annex A Group LLC in violation of sections 8-40 and 8-52 has fined that corporation $10 a day for 15 days, a total of $150. Is also awarded the city $105.50 in prosecution costs. The order will be entered within about a week, about 10 days, and will be provided to the address listed in the property appraiser's records for Annex A Group LLC.
Thank you for coming, and we hope that you're successful in this turnaround.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Item number 9, I believe we have someone with us from Zoom. It's 21-80000154. The address is 1673 Sea Breeze Drive. Excuse me if I mispronounce. Peter Tumillo. Are you with us, Peter?
I'll bring him in to talk.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the city will present its case.
Okay. So this is case number 21-800-00154 for 1673 Seabreeze Drive. The name is under Mr. Peter Tamillo, and I apologize. My name is Beth Hughes. I'm the FACE Certified Code Inspector for the City of Tarpon Springs. This is a repeat violation case. The repeat violation case number was 20-800-00735 and 20-800-00229. Exhibit 1 contains all the photographs. Exhibit 2 contains all the notices to include the notice of violation and notice of hearings. Exhibit 3 contains all the administrative documents to include the case summary, previous board orders, and property appraiser and tax collector records. Exhibit 4 contains the affidavit of posting and a copy of the sign. Exhibit 5 contains the affidavit of prosecution costs. All the photographs and exhibits that were given to the violator are exact copies of what is being presented to the board. All notices were mailed to the property owner of record as determined by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector databases. All notice of violations and notice of hearings are sent return receipt requested and first-class mail. And please accept all exhibits into the record as evidence.
Thank you, Bobby. Will you do so, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know if Mr. Tamillo has any objections to any of our.
Thank you. Do you have objections to the evidence being submitted?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. So on March 9th of 2021, we conducted the initial inspection. We verified that the short-term rental advertisements had changed back from the 6 weeks to 1 to 6 days. And there were multiple websites that had been changed to the less than 6 week minimum rental. So on March 10th, because we did verify that the website has been changed, I made a site visit to the property. that when I arrived, there was a white truck backed into the driveway, so I could not read the plate number. I walked up the staircase and knocked on the door. A woman answered the door, and there was a gentleman present as well, sitting on the back porch, but he stayed on the back porch, and I did not speak with him. I asked if Mr. Tamillo was available, and she stated he was not there, and she did not know where he was, but she would call Gary, who lived next door. She did not want to answer any of my questions, but she did tell me she stayed overnight. She was very uncomfortable and did not want to talk to me about anything else. The next door neighbor, whom she was calling Gary, came out of his front door and stated that Pete owned the house that lived next, and he lived next door. The culmination of the short-term advertisement, the unwillingness of the person staying there to speak with me, and the fact that she knew the number to the neighbor who is listed in the website as a check-in person, or it says there's a local check-in person. I felt that that was a strong enough culmination of evidence that the property was being used as a short-term rental. There were 2 previous cases where he was found to be in violation of the short-term rental. On March 11th, I did offer to meet Mr. Tamillo at the property because he had claimed that he was staying there with relatives, but he did not make himself available to me. I'm sure he'll explain why he did not. On March 15th, there was another reinspection. I verified that the listings had been changed to a minimum of 6 weeks. And per the property owner, the listing was changed on Friday, March 12th. So that is the date we put it into compliance. I did fail to say that on March 10th of 2021, the repeat violation notice of hearing was mailed and the mail was returned unclaimed. So finally, on March 17th, I conducted another reinspection. No one appeared to be present. I was on that road for different reasons, actually different cases. And I didn't see anyone present neither on Monday nor Tuesday. Again, the property owner had stated that the guests had departed. So I did comply the date as of March 12th. On March 26th of 2021, the sign was posted and the affidavit of posting was signed. So I would like to find the property in violation from the date of the initial inspection on March 9th of 2021 until March 12th of 2021. I'll go ahead and pull up my exhibits. Okay, so the first exhibit is just the website showing that it was a, if you can see by the, I don't think you can see my, oh, you can. It's a minimum of 6 nights where it says select dates. This was just where, I apologize, it's sideways. It just shows that I tried to book it for 14 days on the website and it was allowing me to do so. This is another one where it was another website where it was again a minimum of 6 nights. This was a 1-night minimum. And this is where on the reviews, the service from the owner and the check-in person was very good. And again, it shows that there was a local contact for check-in. Okay, so I would like to find the property in violation of City Code 25.02 for single-family residential district for a period of March 9th until a compliance date of March 12th. And that concludes my testimony.
Peter, you get to ask her questions and then you can make your case after that. Go ahead, please.
I
Do you have a
don't
question?
have any questions.
You do not have questions.
No, there's no questions. I mean, it was my brother, myself, his brother-in-law, and 3 women that were at the house on that occasion. So I was there. Okay. I did not make myself available because we had
Hang on a
planned.
second. Hang on a second, please.
Yes, ma'am.
You do not have questions for her?
No.
Who, what, when, where, why, how?
Well, everything that she stated, for the most part, is correct, but it's not
Okay.
exactly correct.
Now then we will let you present your side of the case. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I was at the house on that occasion. There was there's 6 adults, 3 couples there. Okay. The woman that she ran into was my brother's sister-in-law. Everybody else was out. Beth let me know what was going on. I resolved it right away. Okay, the websites that she's pulling up, I only have an agreement with one website. And as I noted, I let everybody know, or at least Beth and her one partner know, that the website changes back to 6 weeks on occasion because of a computer glitch. When I know that it changes back to 6 days from 6 weeks, I do my best to resolve it. This is a perfect example of that. I changed everything to 6 weeks. Now we've got a renter in there for 6 weeks. I don't know what else to say. I do my best to maintain the home. I've got letters in there from my neighbors telling you how nice the house is, that I'm a good neighbor, that I do my part. It seems like we have one neighbor that every time she sees a car parked in my driveway decides to complain. And I understand Beth is doing her job. I'm doing the best I can. That's all I can say. I can't control what the websites do. But when I'm made aware of it, I act on it right away.
Do you have any questions for Peter?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Board like to make a motion and then we can have some discussion?
I move that based on testimony, evidence, and facts presented by law, that the respondent was in violation of sections. Section 25.2 of the Tarpon Springs Code from March the 9th until March the 12th. And a fine of $50 a day for 3 days, or a fine of $150. In addition, I move that the city be awarded $85 for the cost it incurred prosecuting the case.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion from the board?
The last fine was $50 and that hasn't been paid. Is that correct?
The sign before that was $25. It still hasn't been paid. Would you consider revising your fine?
It was complied before the $50 a day initiated.
I didn't hear you.
I said it was complied before $50 a day fine.
Has it
According
been
to
paid,
this, it's
Beth?
not.
I apologize. I missed the question.
No fines have been paid, correct?
Well, no, that's not entirely correct, and I don't have the amount. He chose to pay a partial payment. But Brian, your amount is the payment that's left that's on the paper, is that right? But the amount that's left to be paid is showing on your summary. So so it was $25 a day, totaling $690 for the first case 20-735. And for the second case, it was complied before the $50 fine was assessed, but the prosecution costs have still not been paid of $166.
Does that mean you'd like to revise your motion at all?
I'll revise it to $100 a day.
Does your second hold?
Second.
Bobby, roll call, please. And it's been, just to clarify, the motion is now $100 a day plus prosecution costs.
Mr. Refridio,
Aye.
Mrs. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Would you like to summarize for him, Mr. Trask?
Sure, Mr. Tamillo, you've been found in violation of City Code Section 25.02. The Code Enforcement Board has found you in violation for 3 days and fined you $100 per day for a total of $300 for those 3 days, and also awarded the city $85 in costs of prosecuting the case. There will be an order entered like the other cases within about 10 days and provided to you at the address listed by the property appraiser's records. If you have any questions about the case, you can contact code enforcement after the meeting.
Next item, number 10 on your agenda. 20-8000116, 1629 Grandview Drive. The owner is listed as Henry Smith. Is anyone here for that case, please? Or on Zoom?
If anyone is online, please raise your hand and you'll be allowed in to talk.
No.
And we do not have any raised hands at this time.
Ms. Archer, does she need to present
Yeah,
on
just
on this one?
paying attention.
Do you have a presentation, Beth?
No, ma'am, they're just
Okay.
in. not
Would
in
anyone
compliance.
like to make a motion, please?
I move based on the testimony, evidence, and facts presented in the law that respondents failed to timely comply with the board's prior order within the time prescribed and award the city $178 in the cost of incurred prosecution for this case.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I second. No one else did.
Do a
Got my
voice vote.
cheat sheet. Do we need to have a roll call?
Voice.
Voice
Voice
vote is
vote.
good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move to item 11, affidavits of compliance. First item is, and these we can group, Mr. Trask, we can group these.
The only problem with grouping them is each one of them has a different prosecution cost. Does it make it a
Okay.
little bit more difficult? I would suggest you do them one by one.
All righty.
Okay.
Item number 20-800000179, 1621 Grandview Drive. Listed owner is Henry Smith.
Move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to award the city $179 for the cost it incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 12, 19-800000674, 508 Athens Street. The owner is listed as Zorba Zabikia.
I move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to award the city $252.50 for the cost it incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 13, 19-800000877. The address is 1845 South Pinellas Avenue. R.A. Fortuna Holding Group LLC.
I move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to award the city $222 for the cost it incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Item 14, case number 19-800000795, 445 East Martin Luther King Drive.
There's no prosecution.
There's, but should this be in this section, or is this the request for fine reductions?
We're doing the compliance first and then the fine reduction after. So
Okay.
and they already paid prosecution costs when it was in non-compliance. That's why you don't see them for
Okay,
this
I
one.
got confused on that. Thank you.
All right. I move to accept the affidavit of compliance on 19-800000795.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Old business, item 15, request authorization to foreclose. Item number 18/800000351, 711 North Distant Avenue, Barbara Beals. Is anyone on Zoom for this case, Mr. Jump?
If you are online for this case, please raise your hand and you'll be allowed in to talk. And we do not have a raised hand at this time.
Thank you. Beth, if you'd like to present the city's side.
Thank you. So we are requesting that the code board members authorize for the attorney to commence the foreclosure process for the code enforcement lien. Basically, it's for case number 18-800000351 for Barbara A. Bells for the address of 711 North Distant Avenue for nuisance and trash prohibitions. The outstanding fines are currently $190,000, approximately $190,352, excuse me, $190,352. The homestead status is no, it's not homesteaded. All notices were sent first class and return receipt requested, mail utilizing the name and address of the property owner found in the Pinellas County Tax Collector and Property Appraiser databases. There have been 20 additional cases on the property, and those are attached for you. The current case was presented during the code board hearing of July 12th, 2018, and given a compliance deadline of August 13th of 2018, or a daily fine of $200 per day until complied. The property has not come into compliance and a $200 day fine has been accruing on the property. A lien was placed on the property on August 14th of 2018. And as of March 22nd of 2021, the fines were approximately in excess of $193,352. So I respectfully request the Code Enforcement Board to authorize foreclosure of the above referenced Code Enforcement Board lien. If the Code Enforcement Board authorizes foreclosure, a request will be brought before the Tarpon Springs Board of Commissioners for their authorization as well. I do have some current pictures to show you. This notice to request was also mailed to the property owner. And we did also email it to the daughter because we had some contact when the case was active with the daughter. The last time that the daughter was in the office was of January 13th, 2020. She and her husband came into the office. They had initially, when this code enforcement case started, had made attempts to get the property in compliance. However, between the property owner is actually her mother, Ms. Bells, and she's probably not going to ever return to the property from what I understand, and would not have the resources in order to bring it up to compliance. I believe the daughter does not also have the resources to be able to bring it into compliance, and actually told me that there's sinkholes on the property as well. So let me just go ahead and show you. Sorry. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we do get additional complaints on this property quite regularly. It's not far from the elementary school, and of course, there are property owners that live directly around it. So it is overgrown quite often. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not sure. We might have abated it before for overgrowth. The windows are boarded, but the glass is broken. I don't know if you can tell from the picture. And again, from the picture, it's kind of hard to tell, but the glass is broken. There's debris by the front porch that just remains there and people tend to dump there. Again, you can see that it's just overgrown. The boarding really isn't even effective. I think it's been knocked in and only some of the properties or some of the windows are boarded. And this is just the posting of the foreclosure notice. So the reason that we were wanting to go ahead and request the foreclosure process to be approved for commencement is because I don't ever see an end in sight to this property coming into compliance. I don't believe it's not homesteaded. Neither the property owner has made any contact with our office for years. The daughter, I don't believe, is going to be able to bring it into compliance. And so it's just going to continue to be a nuisance for the city if we don't move forward. And that concludes my testimony.
You consider this an abandoned property?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you might have people that break in, but as far as a valid resident, there's no valid resident.
Anybody have questions for her?
I don't see a listing of this being a motion that we would ordinarily give. So we just say something like this board authorizes a foreclosure?
I think that's simply all you have to do, yes. Mr. Trask, is that correct?
That's correct.
Would you like to make such a motion?
Yes. I move that this board authorizes the foreclosure at 711 North Distant.
I second.
Verify that this is for case number 18-800000351. This is always a sad thing for us to have to do, but the motion has been made and seconded. Would you like to have a roll call, please?
Mr. Perdigo,
Aye.
Mrs. Telliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes.
A point of question, does this go now to a city commission or is this?
Mr. Trask, this will be followed up at a city commission meeting, correct?
Yes, I'll be requesting authorization to file the foreclosure action. And I just for some clarity's sake, just so that you know, we always attempt to obtain a deed in lieu of foreclosure, which means we'll contact the current property owner, ask her if she would sign the deed over to the city so the city can get it into compliance. If we're not successful in doing that, then we move to the actual foreclosure action. The idea is to try to avoid the litigation process. So that would be the next step after the commission authorizes us to do that.
Thank you for clarifying. And the final item on our agenda today is item 16. It's a fine reduction request. It's item number 19/800000795. The address is 445 East Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. And is this the appropriate time to ask you to clarify what our rules are for fine reduction requests?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Let me just go ahead and read the rule to you. So this is Rule 5, Section 4 of your Rules of Procedure, and it reads as follows. After a fine has been imposed by the board and within 60 days after the violation is brought into compliance, a violator may petition for reconsideration of a fine. The petition must be in writing, signed by the violator, and include a copy of the affidavit of compliance executed by the code inspector. The petition must include conclusive evidence showing extreme or undue hardship in the payment of the fine or preventing the violator to come into compliance within the time period established by the board's order. The board secretary shall schedule the petition to be considered, and the board shall make its determination based solely upon the written petition. The board may request information from the code inspector. The board secretary shall notify the violator by regular mail of the determination made by the board. No petition for reduction of fine will be considered prior to the board's acceptance of an affidavit of compliance. Under no circumstances may the amount of the fine be reduced below the costs of the action. Under no circumstances may the amount of the fine be reduced once a foreclosure action is instituted. And additionally, under no circumstances may the amount of the fine for a repeat violation be reduced. That was a reading of your Rule 5, Section 4.
Mr. Trask, you said that no fine can be reduced if the property is not in compliance. Was that what that said?
It can't be reduced until there is an affidavit of compliance. So once it's,
There's an affidavit of compliance.
Is there an affidavit of compliance, Beth?
Yes, ma'am, you accepted it today.
I'm also unclear who Tyler Gold, who submitted this is. There's no documentation of who he is and what his relationship to the property. I don't see.
I believe she's available on the Zoom if you want to
She's
ask her any
waiting.
questions.
Sorry, thank you. I neglected to get you in right away.
okay, let's stop right there. The rule requires you to make your determination based solely upon the written petition. So this is not the opportunity for you to receive testimony or evidence. You're to make your determination based solely upon the written petition.
Thank you. And according to our rules, we need proof that it's a financial hardship to give that.
The rule requires there to be a showing of undue hardship or something that prevented the violator from coming into compliance timely. So you have to make the determination based solely upon the written petition.
And the city's recommendation, right?
So can Beth give us any input on this?
No?
We can go by the city's recommendation, can't we?
Yes,
Yes.
there's a response from the city.
My understanding is that the owner has passed away and now it's owned by Wells Fargo. It's, Wells Fargo has the title.
Through 6 or 8 iterations, yes.
Okay.
There've been a lot of intermediate steps it's really complicated, but as I'm reading this, that appears to be the case. I still see a fine of $80,000 on here. That second to the last page.
That's what she's trying to reduce. The city recognizes.
That's what she's trying to reduce. Yeah.
The city's saying reduce it to 11,000.
Right.
With prosecution costs also. 231. Extenuating circumstances of COVID and everything.
Previously, Mr. Trask, our board has made fines, and I have seen them later reduced by the Board of Commissioners.
You don't need to take any of that into consideration.
Okay.
You do it based solely upon your own rule
The
and what
stuff
you would
that's in
like to
front of
do.
us. Okay,
I wouldn't focus on what anybody else is doing.
remind me of that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's fine. Ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion if anybody's ready to make one.
Okay. I move the fine of $80,233 in the case of 19-00000795 be reduced to 11,000 plus $231.50 for prosecution costs, for a total of $11,231.50.
Second.
Would anybody like to have discussion on that? I would propose a higher fine than that, but that's me.
Seems to me as though the bank,
We need
has
to
been-
talk so we can
Oh.
understand here.
seems as though the bank has known about this issue since 2018 at least. And they've done nothing to reduce the issue.
The question becomes whether or not you take into consideration that the person that was in the residence, there was a moratorium on evictions, and that was for over a year. And that might factor into part of why it wasn't, nothing more was done at that time. Even after the eviction process was lifted, they didn't at that point. And so
Right.
that could be a part arbitration. We could talk about that.
So nothing was done between March 2018 and when the,
It says that the evictions weren't raised until December 31st, 2020.
because they couldn't,
They
because of
could
the,
not.
but there was a whole 2 years prior to that
True.
and time since then.
I have a question about the motion. Is it important to have that sentence about failure to pay the reduced amount or revert back to the original amount? Is that important to have as a part of the motion?
Yes, that is true. Yeah. I said that document that. Want to get something out there.
I understand.
Yeah.
But it might make a more timely payment.
We have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. We need to either vote on that or amend it. Do you want to leave your motion standing?
It's her motion.
What do you want- what would you
It's
like?
your motion.
It's your
isn't it?
motion. Do you want to leave it standing or do you want to revise it
What I'd like to do was leave it standing and then.
and
come
get a
back to
vote and then we
discussion.
can start again
Yes,
if it doesn't
yes.
pass? All
That was
righty.
my intention. all along.
Bobby, would you like to do a roll call, please, on the motion that is
I'd
as,
just like to add to that, that failure to pay the fine will revert back to the original amount.
Failure to pay it by what date?
See,
Within
the
60
amount
working
if
days.
paid within 60 working days of this order.
Bobby, roll call?
Mr. Presidio,
Aye.
Mrs. Jelliar,
Yes.
Ms. Norfleet,
Yes,
Mr. Weeks,
Yes.
Mrs. Archer,
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
No. Motion
carries.
passes. Would you like to summarize, please?
Sure, the outstanding code enforcement fine for this particular case, 19-800000795, has been reduced from $80,233 to $11,231.50 if paid within 60 days. Should it fail to be paid within 60 days, it will revert back to the original fine amount.
Thank you. We have 3 months' worth of minutes that were sent to you. Did you find any need for corrections, additions, or would anybody like to make a motion to approve them? We have January minutes.
I make a motion to approve the January, February, and March minutes.
We'll do it as a group unless I hear an objection. All in favor?
Aye.
give you a
Aye.
second.
Ms. Norfleet says she seconds. Thank you. We'll revote to make sure everybody in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Does anybody have any business that we need to take care of? City have any business?
No, ma'am.
Code board members?
Could I make a statement?
Please do.
Okay. You know, after serving on the codes board for the past year plus and watching various city commissioner meetings and workshops, I've noticed a pattern. Whenever angry people vent their spleen, they go full bore, facts be damned. I've seen the commissioners being accused of all sorts of malfeasance, graft, and corruption by known offenders and miscreants. Recently, I was accused by a disgruntled codes violator of corruption and graft. My character and reputation were called into question with unfounded accusations by this individual because he continues to willfully violate the laws and codes of Tarpon Springs. I spent 37 years protecting this nation in various hazardous and combat zones and being entrusted with the nation's highest secrets. I know my character is beyond reproach. I will not be intimidated by baseless innuendo. Like Dylan Thomas, I will not go gentle and say good night, and would highly recommend that people follow the rules and laws of Tarpon Springs. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
If no one has anything further, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.